California Cobra. What do you think of these doomsday type channels here on YouTube? I saw a video last week where a guy shows a bunch of different underground tunnel entrances near a Walmart, and it kind of worried me, especially after the closing of several Walmart stores for, quote, plumbing issues, quote, and seeing armored guards and other government agency cars in the parking lot. This world has become a scary place. Alright, well, I am certainly the last person who is going to debate that the world is a scary place. I agree with you that there are a number of things in the world that are quite terrifying, starting right here in the United States with the current individual occupying the Oval Office and spreading out from there to terrorism and atrocities and human rights violations in various places around the world. There are a lot of reasons and things to find out and about in our environment that are not fun to know about, that are not great examples of humanity and beneficial actions that people take. But I also know, statistically speaking, that the world is becoming a safer place. And I know that for every example you can find of crazy nonsense going on in the world, you can find really on the order of 5, 6, 7 examples of some really good stuff that's going on, whether it's in your own immediate environment or in your city or in your state or country, right, or somewhere else around the world. In other words, the point is that yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on in the world, and there's a lot of people that like to talk about that stuff. But there's also a ton more good stuff that goes on in the world, and a lot of people don't seem to want to talk about that. But it's there, and it's there to be seen, and it's there to be found, right? And so at first I just wanted to make that point. I'm kind of optimistic by nature anyway, so I might start, looking or assuming or having a bias in the direction of, positivity. But it's, how I choose to look at the world. And, and like I said, statistically speaking, I have some facts on my side as to why I might have that viewpoint and why I think others should too. Now, I've certainly had my fair share of things to say about conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones and people who I feel unduly profit by creating fear and terror in people. And by unduly profit, I mean people who are, using their platform to not only create an environment or an attitude of distrust and fear and paranoia, but who then, make a substantial amount of money doing so. That's selling fear. Right? And sure, if you have something if there's a situation that is truly dangerous, that is truly something that that everybody should be aware of, then of course, it's kind of anyone's responsibility to get that information out there in any way that they can and share that information with the world. That's kind of how I view my channel, right? Now, of course, somebody could, and the Church of Scientology has, pointed the finger at me and other critics of Scientology as, well, you're just trying to profit from that, you're just in it to make the money, which of course is not true. I started this channel before with no idea of ever, doing anything like this with any kind of money-making, goal in mind. And really what happened with me was it evolved into, I had so much to say, so many questions to answer, so much information to give, that it became a thing of, well, look, I appealed to you guys and I said, well, look, if you guys want me to do this more and buy me the time to be able to produce the content I'd like to produce, then, support me through Patreon, and thousands and thousands and thousands of creators have done that. So that's not selling fear, right? I think anybody with a couple brain cells can sort of differentiate between fear mongering and using hyperbole, using exaggeration, using just flat out false information to propagate a position of fear and distrust and suspicion and paranoia versus general education, right? These are two different things, right? So it's not, all, apples and apples. There's apples and there's oranges, right? Okay, so that all being said, I mostly don't like conspiracy fear-mongering because of the fact that it preys on people's generally, I mean, I don't mean this to be like totally insulting or something, because I'm just as guilty of it as everybody else, but kind of an intellectual laziness that goes with, how we look at information. There's confirmation bias, where we will naturally look to information that confirms what we already think. But also the fact-checking side of things, right? Where you get some information that can be quite alarming, and you go, oh, well, it must be true because I read it here, or blah, blah said it, or something like that. Not thinking with the idea that anybody could be making a mistake or could be making an error. And so, you gotta fact check the information that you get. And this is where, of course, critical thinking comes in. So with the Walmart thing, right? There was this big scare down in Texas earlier this year or last year about Walmarts and the National Guard or something, or militia being out there, in some kind of force, and they were using underground tunnels of Walmart or something to shutting Walmarts down and doing some nefarious thing down in Texas. And you just go, really? Okay, that sounds a little nuts. Well, you dig into it a little more and you find out it is nuts, right? That there wasn't really any substance to that, scary story. And, and there was some drilling going on with the military down there, and you kind of go, okay. And somebody could look at me and go, well, you're just being intellectually lazy because, who knows what they're really up to. And this is where I kind of get into the like, okay, guys, let's calm down a little bit and let's get more information, as much as information as possible. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong, but don't prove me wrong by sending me some link to some, wild ass person who's doing the fear mongering, like Alex Jones, and say, oh, well, Alex Jones said it, so it must be true. Yeah, no, I'm never going to give Alex Jones any credibility, because I've already spent years debunking Alex Jones's claims. Not one or two or three of them. I'm talking on the order of about 50 of them. So there comes a point where you just go, that source of information is kind of dead to me now. Right? I'm just not going to accept information from that line of country, right? Maybe that's an error on my part. Maybe I shouldn't be so biased against somebody like Alex Jones, but it's kind of the boy who cried wolf, right? Over and over and over and over, every single time the guy has been lying. So you just go, okay, I'm done listening to you. So that's why I feel like there are plenty of reasons to have suspicions, plenty of reasons to look more deeply into things. But I think with channels that are selling fear, selling paranoia, I tend to just kind of discount them out of hand because of what's the goal of that channel? What is it that they're trying to do? And for what purpose are they creating, those videos, and what is their incentive for doing so, right? That's a way, maybe not the perfect way, but it's a way to grade information and grade the quality of the information you're getting, and maybe live a slightly less paranoid life as a result. At least that's how I kind of look at it.